You'll be shocked to know what hit the EV market. The EV market just crashed, and this might be the biggest auto crash till date. Do not buy an EV right now. Ford, GM, Toyota, and even Tesla are facing the brutal consequences of this crash. A huge secret has just been exposed. EVs are a scam, meant to take money from the middle class. If you thought EVs were the future, how do you explain thousands of EVs lying unsold in graveyards? Why are dealers not able to sell EVs? And what exactly did the political leaders do to cause this crash? Hybrids and gas cars are still the way to go, and I'm going to tell you how you, yes you, can save thousands of dollars from this EV crash. Here's what happened. Prices of used EVs just fell by 30% year over year, and new EV sales all in the red. Let's delve into the harsh reality that just hit the middle class. The dream of EVs, once glorified and promoted, is now unraveling into what seems like a Ponzi scheme. And guess who's at the center of this? Our very own political leaders who are pushing overpriced electric vehicles, hiding a dark truth in the shadows, which I will reveal in this video. Major automakers like Ford, GM, Tesla, and Jeep are slamming the brakes on EV production. Despite Biden's efforts to market EVs, people are starting to see how EVs are not as practical as they seemed initially. And get this, EVs are not as green and good for the environment as everyone is telling you. In fact, they might even be doing more damage, both to your wallet and the environment. But before I tell you how, let me explain how the market is crashing. Ford is selling EVs at a loss of $36,000 per vehicle. Yes, that's right, per vehicle. They are going to lose $4 billion on the electric version this year. CEO Jim Farley is using the profits from their gas car sales to keep the EV division alive. Earlier this year, Joe Biden even gave them a $9 billion lifeline. But the losses are still persistent. Then we have Tesla, the market leader. Even they had to slash prices 3 times in a single quarter to stay competitive. On average, EVs are now $17,800 cheaper than what they were in December 2022. But if the prices are falling, people should start to buy like crazy, right? But that's not happening, and the consequences to this are disastrous. The Tesla Model X saw a price cut of $21,700, while the Model S and Model 3 saw reductions of $18,596 and $14,716 respectively. But the problems don't end there. People who already purchased EVs in the hype are also suffering. 3 major issues have now surfaced after long-term usage that no one knew about initially. I'll get into these shortly, but first, let me tell you how you can avoid being scammed in this crash. The very first alarming trend that you will see is the increase in the number of unsold EVs in dealer lots. Not 1, not 2, most dealers have more than 8 weeks of supply just sitting unsold, while hybrid vehicles are selling twice as fast. The reason? High entry price, poor range, and a charging infrastructure that is only good on paper and not ideal for the common folk. Most people spending $30,000 to $40,000 on a car want a simple vehicle that gets the basics right and gets the job done, which is to take them from point A to point B. But companies are totally out of touch with their customers. Take GM for instance. They've introduced so many models and options which can cost as much as $20,000 just to get people to get useless tech features that they are not even going to use later on. The situation is much worse with used EVs. First, we have the problem of battery degradation, which is now becoming more apparent than ever, because the first batch of EVs have started to age. Many users are seeing depreciation of nearly 50% on their EVs, and I'm talking about Teslas here. You can check out this official Tesla car app, and let's not even get started on the extra cost of replacing batteries once they reach the end of their cycle. Another major problem plaguing the market is high dealer markups and soaring interest rates. You see, the Biden administration wants everyone to buy EVs like crazy. So what did they do? Make getting loans incredibly easy while increasing the interest rates. Then companies like Ford and GM are even letting their dealers charge huge markups on their cars without any strict action against them. All of these things made EVs unaffordable for the middle class, but the bubble is finally about to burst. Tesla just announced that they will slow down production, while Ford and GM stopped the production of the F-150 Lightning and Silverados, indicating heavy reluctance. It's as if they know that the customers are not buying, and a big crash is imminent. The prices of raw materials for EV batteries are also going down, which might seem like a good sign, but it only hints towards a weakening demand. What does all of this mean for you? If you're considering an EV, it might be wise to wait. The market is going down with no intention of how bad things are going to get. Now, let's turn our attention to China, a major EV market. Over there, the government is literally slashing thousands of electric cars in these so-called EV graveyards, and this is the biggest EV market in the world. Most companies like BYD, Tesla, and even Volkswagen rush to make thousands of EVs, but are now struggling to sell them without price cuts. But what happens to these abandoned EVs? Their environmental impact is huge. Each battery contains precious materials like nickel, lithium, and cobalt. These are called rare earth materials and are limited in supply. Rapidly discarding these vehicles undermines their supposed environmental benefits, which only hold true after several years of use. In order to offset the extra price you pay for an EV over a hybrid vehicle, you will have to drive it for at least 60,000 miles, and only after that you will begin to reap the benefits. Okay, I get it. Nobody wants to buy EVs. So could we just halt EV production and go back to combustion and hybrid vehicles? Theoretically, yes. But there's a larger force at play here. Someone that's putting immense pressure on automakers and completely ignoring the needs of the middle class. With stricter EV mandates and bans against combustion vehicles, the government has made it clear: either make EVs or perish. The Biden administration's fixation on EVs has forced all car makers to start making EVs. Consider the high prices. People are being lured into burdensome monthly payments. Think about it. How many of you feel that your car payments are more than what they should be? So, here's the scoop. Biden's administration, they've rolled out these super tough emission rules. We're talking about the strictest ones ever. And the big headline? They're pushing hard for electric cars. Like, really hard. The goal is that by 2032, about 67% of all new cars sold in the US need to be electric. That's a massive jump from where we are now at a mere 3%. But here's where it gets dicey. These new rules, they don't just say sell more electric cars. They're actually setting these pollution standards for all cars and trucks. The catch is, to meet these standards, car makers pretty much have to sell a ton of EVs. Otherwise, they just can't keep up with the pollution limits. In a remarkable response, over 3,000 auto dealers have united in protests, addressing a fiery letter to President Biden. Their message is clear: we can't sell EVs. Please don't rush into this electrification. The dealers are urging a slowdown in EV transition, advocating for a more balanced approach that doesn't force the average consumer into an EV. And then there's the insurance issue. Maintaining and insuring an EV is turning out to be more expensive than anticipated. Even minor damages to an EV's battery can lead to exorbitant repair costs, with insurers often demanding complete battery replacement. This has led to soaring insurance premiums for EV owners. Some Tesla owners report insurance costs tripling, soaring to as high as $6,000 annually. In the midst of this, President Biden has dropped another bombshell, mandating federal employees to only use EVs in public transport for official travel. But why is it bad for the government to promote EVs? You see, right now, electric cars are pretty pricey. The average cost is over $58,000. That's way more than regular cars. And yeah, there are some tax credits and stuff to help bring the cost down, but it's still a lot of money. Here's where the middle class squeeze comes in. A lot of folks were eyeing hybrids as a more affordable way to be eco-friendly. Hybrids are like a mix of gas and electric, and they're cheaper than full-on electric cars. But with these new rules pushing so hard for EVs, it feels like the government is saying, forget hybrids, go electric or bust. And that's tough for people who just can't drop that kind of cash on a car. The White House is also imposing stringent tailpipe emission regulations, aiming to significantly increase the proportion of EVs by 2032. This policy is not just encouraging EV use, it's making it increasingly difficult to opt for gas-powered vehicles. But there's a geopolitical dimension to consider. A significant portion of the critical materials for EV batteries comes from abroad, particularly China. The shift to EVs therefore involves complex international politics and trade. Now, the car companies, they're scrambling. They've got to figure out how to make and sell more electric cars fast. And they're saying, hold up. This is a huge change and we need time, better charging stations, and more affordable cars. The Biden administration is all in on this though. They're saying it's about cleaner air, saving money in the long run, and cutting down on oil imports. They've got some big numbers to back it up, like avoiding 10 billion tons of CO2 emissions and saving folks $12,000 over a car's lifetime. Those are big promises, but get this. Not everyone's thrilled. Some people are like, where am I going to charge this thing? Or I can't afford an EV. But nobody is there to listen, and we are heading into this at a fast pace. Only time will tell how bad this EV market crash is, but one thing is clear. EVs are not the future everyone thought they were. Do you prefer EVs over hybrids? Let me know down in the comments below. And while you're at it, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.